Welcome back to just another solar podcast with Luke Beattie. That's me, Carl Jensen. G'day, Carl. How are you?
I am awesome, Luke. I've been traveling all over the countryside.
You've been down at the stockyards selling cattle.
Yep, done a bit of that, done a bit of shepherding, done a bit of solar gain dealers. It's all exciting times.
Good stuff. And Jess McPherson, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just traveling along, still in the trenches, still selling batteries. Just same old, same old.
How's it feel leading into May the 1st?
Well, we've been booked up to May 1st for a little bit, so it's one of those ones. I think it's at a point in the industry. I saw Finn Peacock say online that if you're not booked up until that time, it's a bit of a red flag, and I agree. I know MC Electrical are booked up until August, which is
Wow.
insane. Mad respect to them and their operation. But yeah.
I noticed there was one installer on the Me page who said, I'm in WA, I've got slots left between now and 1st of May. And I'm sure the phones rang off the hook. And as a change up, industry legend Nigel Morris is at a function. I know he was at the Smart Energy Council's roadshow in Newcastle, I think yesterday, and he's not available today. So we parachuted in Simon Ceglinski from PowerPlus Energy. G'day, Simon. How are you?
Also, an industry legend.
No, not at all. I don't want to fill those boots. Nige does them far too well. I thought you were going to actually introduce me as Nigel and just see if anyone could tell the difference.
Well, apparently you look like Carl. Carl
Yeah.
is convinced that you two look alike.
It's like looking in a mirror.
Interesting way to try and get the YouTube views up, but
So what are your thoughts, Simon? Long lost twins?
Specsavers could probably use with a bit more patronage. So I think there's a discount code I can probably forward you if you need that, Carl. But look, I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed there wasn't a weather report from Carl's travels
good point.
through regional Victoria. I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that there's been a little bit of crazy weather down in Victoria lately. A bit of rain, a bit of sunshine, a bit of cold, a bit of hot. But for us New South Welsh people, we're used to that from Victoria.
It's 20 degrees, mate. The season has ended. Summer is over. It's done. We're coming into winter. I'm going to be the weather report be standard from here on. The weather is rubbish.
There you go. All right, we mentioned May the 1st. Now, of course, the STCs for batteries is dropping from 8.4 to 6.8. Then it's going to happen every 6 months after that. So we know that really that impacts above 28 kilowatt hours for battery capacity. Now, I'm curious to get your thoughts, guys. Do you think it's going to impact, number one, on PV installs? And number two, how do you think it's going to impact on battery size and the battery market? We'll start with you, Simon.
I actually think our channel partners that we would normally work through are actually going to really be happy with this because they've got huge stocks of solar panels just sitting there gathering dust. Our friends who make solar panels are stressing on how they're making commissions and sales and all the rest of it. So I think we'll probably see an uptake in solar. And I actually think that's genuinely a good thing because I know I'm talking to the converted here. How often do we see those absolutely crazy systems with tiny little solar arrays with monstrous great big batteries with crazy promises? And battery manufacturers around the world are both giggling and shuddering at the same time because they know we're just kicking a problem down the street. So I think it's a good thing.
I think that people have enough time that they'll be able to go back and put panels on those systems that they fucked up.
The problem we're going to hit on that is around compliance, Carl, where we look at the DNSPs that don't actually make that easy. And Luke's over in Western Australia. That's a network which that can be a little bit complicated depending on your chosen, equipment. But then also Queensland's equally a little bit complicated, and same with some of Victoria as well with the CC POS rules.
I think it's optimistic to think that people will go back and fix up. Like I think there are good players out there aren't doing the fuck up in the first place. It's the bad players that are doing what they can get away with, and I think it's pretty unlikely they're going to go back and sort that shit out unless it's very profitable for them.
And how much more solar does the little old lady need who got a 50 kilowatt hour battery?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong on that one, but I'm just not very hopeful.
My mother-in-law has a 3 kilowatt inverter with nearly 4 kilowatts of panels, and they're shaded for 2/3 of the day, and she still gets a credit every month of like $10 or something.
Does she turn the lights on ever, or does she
I
she
don't
have a
think so.
fridge, or
I
what's going on?
feel like she lives in the dark if the sun's not shining, so I probably did too much in training her how to use solar, but hey, it works for her, so good luck to her.
No, I get you. I'm constantly texting my mom and saying, like, can you please just boil a kettle? Like, her battery, I don't think I've ever seen it get below like 60%, and it stresses me out.
So, Simon, we talked about this earlier today. You said that there's some compliance stuff coming up and some new
Yeah.
standards, and there could be quite a lot of gear that you won't be able to use come next year
Maybe.
anyway.
So we already have those odd, landmarks that happens, and Jess, you're probably in this room going to be hit harder than the rest of us three with, the solar panels being delisted, Aussie standards changing. It happens, right? So you have to plan for it.
Mhm.
So we're going to hit a battery milestone shortly. It's already been announced. It's in effect already by the Clean Energy Council. We're moving away from the best practice guide, and we're picking up a technical specification. So, Jess, you shouldn't stress on this, but Carl and Luke, you absolutely have to. It's a manufacturing standard. So it's a way of showing to you, Jess, that the products are safe to handle, to use, to install. The quirk of this is there's no test house in Australia that can do this now. So
Ooh.
all the testing has to happen maybe in Europe or China. We're not yet sure. There's no test methodology that we've been able to establish so far. And the quirk of this is, like Luke, for example, and we're off listing batteries at the moment. We're giving an arbitrary time where they're going to be compliant to, and then they'll be delisted. We have to retest them at that point. But what if the Australian standards change or the international standards change and we can no longer hit that goal?
Mm.
That means that that's a non-compliant product.
Can you just explain, Simon, exactly, or just give a summary of the TS 5398, what the new requirements will be? Now, my understanding was a lot of it's around shipping. So it's things like not having
And we
live
said
terminals
summary.
as you ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the best I can to summarize this. And I had to write a board briefing, so I think I might be able to do it,
Sure.
but I'm not 100%. So if I miss something,
Oh,
please forgive me.
before you do that, can I just give a
Yep.
shout out to our sponsors, Goodwe?
Yes.
And make sure, if you haven't already, check out their ESA all-in-one solution. Thank you, Goodwe, for supporting us and supporting the industry.
Hey solar retailers, the Goodwe Rewards platform is back with $20 million in rewards available for you. Claim on every 5 and 8 kilowatt hour ESA battery module or ESA 30 kilowatt 60 kilowatt hour unit purchased from your distributor. Redeem your rewards on anything in our online catalogue, including Visa gift cards. Record, submit, get rewarded. Visit goodwerewards.com.au now.
All right, shoot, Simon.
Good, we make great products. My mother-in-law's got one on the house. Radio. So TS 5398. So what they're trying to do is make batteries safer overall. Obviously, over the last kind of 12 months, there might have been a couple of recalls with some really big brands, and they're trying to address some of that stuff at the same time. But that's a parallel project. In TS 5398, it's around safe not just transport and handling, but also installation. So if you have a battery system where you look at the ESAs or other similar type solutions, we're talking many hundreds, primarily, yeah. We're talking many hundreds of volts DC, and DC is very, very dangerous at high current, high voltage. And we're used to that with solar, but we're now jumping into really, really high fault currents for lithium batteries and the high voltages. So it's kind of a bad combination of both.
We're talking melting spanners, yeah?
We're talking best case scenario is melted spanners, Carl. And the reality is, and you're an electricity person from way back, and anyone who's listening who does any work on the HV network will know there's no rescue from HV problems. It's a recovery only. And DC burns are like HV burns. They're very, very bad. So what it is when they're in transport, we have to have caps over the connectors to stop inadvertent. That's pretty normal and reasonable. We have to have extra labels and placards which says this is the kind of PPE requirements or risk that you need to take into account when you're doing this work and handling. That's reasonable.
So
right?
even more than our current skull and crossbones and
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Excellent.
But it's a manufacturer's responsibility, not yours, Jess, which is a really important difference, right? Because we should be held to a higher level of account than you. So the goal is you're safe. Now, where this gets really tricky is where the batteries are effectively de-energized for the purposes of installation, how that works. So there's been a lot of industry consultation on practically how to achieve this, and I think it's been done well. But there's effectively two test methods available depending on if it's parallel or series or the voltage requirements and some other parts. And most manufacturers have now nearly a 2-year window to get their products compliant, tested, and listed. Now, in parallel to this, the CEC in the recent webinar brought in the Electrical Equipment Safety Scheme, which is a federal government a listing body, which all areas, with the exception of New South Wales, are required to follow. And they've said that they're looking to put all integrated solutions into the highest risk category, or class 3, which means mandatory listing. So the requirement for that will be this TS5398 and all the other underpinning CEC tests. So the quirk of this is, and I was talking to a few people today, not just yourselves, about this. Jess, you've gone out, all best interest, you've installed that nice, sexy ESA from Goodway, and something happens and it breaks. We're in early 2028. If that product hasn't been relisted and registered, it's illegal for you to put another one in place because it needs to be registered, and to be registered, it needs to be tested and relisted.
And it's not grandfathered as as repair or warranty
Not as far
work
as I can
sometimes
tell.
is.
It's still that fuzzy grey,
Yeah, gotcha.
which is really scary.
So is this similar to the ERAC listing?
Yes, exactly. It's very similar. You get a tick with a triangle in it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Gotcha.
So this listing means that if you don't have it, you can't install it. So then we're now in a situation where manufacturers might prematurely have to end of life products. We might have to have other strategies in place how we support our customers, because the Australian standards and the international standards, they change. The underpinning IEC tests have changed 2 or 3 times since we started doing CEC battery listings. And every single one brings in new little quirks. But if we're not designing to meet that or exceed that standard, we don't know if we're going to meet it.
Which you can't do without a crystal ball, right? Like, how could you can't know where to aim if you don't know where to aim.
Yep.
That's very frustrating, I feel, for manufacturers, because, like, is it a separate listing or it's part of the same normal CEC listing?
No, this will be a whole separate
That's
side of
so
listings.
annoying and probably
Yes.
expensive, I would imagine.
Yeah, oh, totally. But the worst bit there is, and I say this on the roadshows all the time when I'm up presenting, if a manufacturer has an Australian office and Australian employees, they're genuinely committed to the Australian, environment that we're working in, well, then they're going to be a good manufacturer. Maybe not great, but definitely good. So they've got the right intent, but the goalposts are continually being shifted left and right. So how do you know we're going to be able to actually score? And we were joking today at a board level about how, we took a small win, but then took possibly a bigger loss in all of this new legislation that may or may not be. And we're still trying to figure out the details. So it's a tricky one.
Ops usual on the solar coaster. Another hard deadline and change in requirements. And yeah.
So how much of this is in stone, Simon? Like, how much of this is like definitely the case, and how much is like speculation, I suppose?
The way they were talking in the webinar, and thankfully I got the recorded version, so it's really hard to go back on that. And I'll actually have to take a screen recording just so I've got it locked in. It sounds like it's pretty hard. Like, don't get me wrong, the basis is good. The problem is the people making these decisions are not thinking about you, Jess, or us, manufacturers, or the middle player, which is that channel partner. They're not caring about that. And we think they're pulling out the whole safety thing as a arbitrary kind of get out on the whole lot.
Well, it stresses me out from a future-proofing perspective, because we really like to we really like to set products up for scalability. Or if we're telling a customer, you'll be add a module to this in the future, and the manufacturer, through Well, really, it sounds like no fault of their own. Even if they do everything they possibly can to try and keep in front of it, might have to, cease providing that module or that system. That's really frustrating for even a customer. I don't. I
They
mean,
just might not comply, right? As in, it might not be possible to make that module to comply to the new
yeah,
standard. That's
totally.
right.
And herein lies the problem for OEMs is that you are designing to a moment in time. And that means the requirements of that time and balancing what the market wants and what the market needs. And then you get all these extra layers. The fact that it's another listing, as we know, you speak to OEMs about getting their CEC listing, and there's enough pain points there, let alone having another body and another listing and another
Time
clip of
delay.
clip of the ticket too. Jess, it's
I got to tell you, the biggest upside to the EES is it's a federal government agency. It's not a, I'm a pretend but not pretend, compliance yet not compliance. I represent the industry, but do I really? Kind of organisation.
Well, I remember when they changed the requirements for the DC isolators in inverters, and that was a big issue because all of these isolators had to be on the ERAC list, which is administered by EES. So they've been doing this for a while, and there was a hard deadline on that, and there were all these non-compliant inverters, and even more stupidly, we had inverters being installed with a DC isolator internal and then an external DC isolator just because it wasn't on the ERAC list, and it just became this big circus, a big circus. So watch that space. What date? When does that become mandatory?
So all existing CEC listings of all batteries will become voided as of midnight the 31st December 2027. So that's the window in which manufacturers now have to get all of this resolved, which includes potentially redesigning. Now, the reality is people listening to this go, oh, that's the manufacturer's fault. It's a problem that they'll have to deal with. The reality is for us here in Australia, PowerPlus, for us to achieve a CEC listing is north of 75, close to about 100K worth of testing, because the test can't be done in Australia. And that test includes the transport test, right? So let's go, oh, we've invented the best battery in the world here in Australia. Whoever does that, right? Whoever does
Whoever
it,
it could possibly be. Yeah.
You can't transport that battery to the test house in China, which is where you have to send it, because you need a transport test to say it's safe to transport.
Chicken and
we
the
can't
egg.
even test that in Australia.
Yikes.
So we've got these inbuilt barriers into our listing program, which is against everything we're trying to do here. And the reality is, Carl, I bet you're really stressed about Bowser price of fuel going up, right? Because that hits you so hard.
Mate, I did 800 Ks yesterday in the car, and it cost me nothing. I charged for free.
So this is sovereignty at work. You are owning your transport costs and your energy costs. This is ultimately what we're all working for, right? We're working to be free of those external influences, and yet
it's like this energy just falls out of the sky.
I've seen videos of people with IBCs, those big 1,000-litre tanks, at the petrol station filling them up.
Carl's got the jerry cans in the front.
Yeah.
That is such a weird name to call it. That just doesn't get it. It's so bad. But so imagine, right, we're all moving in that direction. We're trying to electrify everything. We're trying to make everything in Australia if we can. There's massive federal, friends at Tinder have received a whole heap of money, and they're doing a heap more manufacturing down near you, Jess. And, these Australian companies that are doing this. And then the goalposts get put there, and you go, they're not in front of me. They're actually so far to the side, I can't even come close. Why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
I just have to do a little side gig here. 3 weeks ago in the news, there was several articles about BYD and their cars that are parked in fun park car parks and all sorts of weird and wonderful places all over Australia because they needed to meet some target, and they shipped us a squillion cars. And today, they're rubbing their hands together going,
oh, yeah.
Fuck you all. Good stuff.
I went to the BYD dealership the other day and said, when can I get the new Shark? I don't want the old one. I want the more power.
Yeah.
So we've already got one BYD. going to have the 2 BYD household.
Heard a rumor today that they may be joining the Formula One grid as well, which would be massive.
Did you see that BYD car on Nuremberg Ring? Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
so
stuff.
quick.
Anyway, so they're not stressed about oil going through the Strait of Hormuz.
No. Electrons, yes. Oil, no.
Electrons just falling out of the sky on my roof. It's like a
Yeah,
miracle.
it's like, catching the ball.
So Jess, NRG has a big announcement.
We have a bit of an announcement. Yeah, everyone's got to raise a glass to Eddie May, who has stepped down from managing director at NRG. He's obviously had a massive impact on a lot of people in the industry. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for going to school with his son, actually, but that's aside. I think all of this to say, he's made a big mark on the industry, and he's not retiring really. He's just he's having a lot more fun in Fiji than he's having in Adelaide, I think would be the summary. So he's doubling down on his efforts there. He'll be around, no doubt. But yeah, if you know him and you want to send him a little message or something like that, today, as of recording, which is the 13th of March, was his last day officially as managing director.
Congrats,
That's
Eddie.
amazing. Yeah, congrats.
Just what's his phone number again? Just tell us all. We'll send him a
Okay,
text.
if I say it out loud, somebody has to scroll it in your nearest bathroom stall.
Congrats to Eddie. He's been at the forefront for years, very prominent figure in the industry, and the legacy is there, NRG Australia. And now he's out there in Fiji and the Pacific, doing lots of things out there too.
Such a great relief too. Like, I mean, Jess has been keeping this a secret since the start of the episode, and I thought she was pregnant. So, you know.
That's not solar news.
Damn.
That's not solar
Which
news.
technically that would be Eddie's legacy as well.
True, very, very true.
Jess is engaged to Eddie's son, of
Yes.
course. So
I know, but I
Yes.
was trying to be polite.
You know,
about
we
this.
really do have a family business here at NRG. Is the summary. Truly, I think for like my friend's dad, but essentially when I met Eddie, to what he's like as a business person and a very inspiring leader. So yeah, we've been very lucky to have him, and not that he's going that far, but
yeah, congrats, Eddie. All the best. Move into a sad story, I would say.
Yep.
So
Michael.
from WA, so Mike Ditchiera, or Ditchy, as we all knew him, passed away on the weekend. Ditchy was at Infinite Energy for years and years, highly respected person, always a smile on his face, always ready to close a deal. But you wouldn't hear a bad word about Ditchy. Such a great bloke, and it was just one of those tragic, he went out to the garden and had a suspected heart attack, so leaves behind his wife, Tara, and Cooper, his son, and just tragic. But just want to acknowledge, number one, the impact he had on the industry, but just on the people around him. So it's had for those there, he's also from Positive Energy, was a director there. So hearts go out to the Positive Energy crew, friends of the show, and over here in WA, it's a big thing, and nationally for those who knew him.
Unbelievable. One of the guys who built my career selling Fronius, and did a trip to Europe with him, did a trip to Singapore with him, all round great guy. So, yeah, he will be missed.
Yeah, big news.
You're obviously affected there, Luke.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's sad. It's tragic. It's a
Very
reminder.
tragic.
It's not like we get a notice in the morning that says it's your last day on the planet. Make sure you hug your kids again. Make sure you're kind to your wife. Or whatever.
Oh, look, and indeed, Costa's really good at this. And we talk about mental health on the show. We talk about our skin health. Solar Cutters is big into getting skin cancers checked and so on. Obviously, the health of our listeners is important. Go see your doctor, get your checkups.
100%.
Even you, Simon.
Actually, it's funny you say that. I had something on my shoulder just before Christmas, and I was going away for Christmas, so I thought, I better get it sorted out. Went and saw a skin doctor and said, there's this thing on my shoulder I haven't seen before. And he took an approach which made me feel like it was the worst. He said, that's really bad. We need to cut that right now. And he said, I can't get enough. We'll do a biopsy. We'll cut some more later. And I'm just freaking out because my family's got a history of melanoma. And I went, in my head, let's start planning radiation therapy the way he was talking. And then his receptionist called me a week later and said, oh, don't worry about it. It's just a skin thing. It's
No.
fine. I was
All
like,
right.
yeah, no, that's not going to cut it.
Jeez
Oh my
Louise.
I thought you were going to say it was
Hello.
like me sitting on your shoulder, brother.
No, that's worse. But you're right, though, Luke. Every day we should be living our best, right? Don't think that tomorrow I'm going to start living my best. We have to live our best today.
Absolutely. Now, you've been in surf lifesaving for over 25 years, mate. And some of the notable appearances, you were speaking at a roadshow recently, and I saw you in the surf lifesaving kit. What was that all about?
I've been a member since 1985. Started as a 5 or 6 year old nipper at Brunswick Heads, far northern New South Wales. My parents were worried about us at the beach, and they wanted us to rescue ourselves if we got in trouble. I think it's because maybe they're partaking in hydrating beverages. I don't know. I wasn't old enough. So we just celebrated at the beginning of March the first ever Wear It Yellow Day, and Jess and I happened to be at a retreat in far northern New South Wales at Glen Innes, celebrating 10-year birthday for Catchpower, another great Australian manufacturer. They're really good. And I wore my patrol uniform like Jess did, because Jess is also a legend volunteer surf lifesaver. Way too modest, but
El
she's really great at
Capitano.
this.
El Capitan.
And I exploited my talking time to say that we're representing more than 40,000 active surf lifesavers around the country. We're the largest volunteer emergency service on earth, with more than 250,000 members in total. And I asked the crowd to participate in something. I want everyone here and listening to think about this right now. We're recording this in March, so we've just come out of our summer season. And in the summer season, from November through to January, a whole heap of people died around Australia, more than 55, I think. Now, in that cohort of people who drowned, most of them were men. In fact, 95% were men. And then within that remaining, within that group, if you were aged 55 or above, you were disproportionately represented. 1 in 2 were over the age of 55.
Wow.
So the short answer to this is men's ability to do good quality risk assessment apparently doesn't get better as they get old, Carl.
Do you remember the what went around with it, where it was like, how many men do you think they could fly the plane if the pilot went unconscious? Like that's the energy that unfortunately takes people in a bad
But you do hear, I have heard these cases where kids get swept out and then a dad jumps in to try and save them. The kids survive and the dad drowns. Tell me about that phenomenon.
It destroys the communities that this happens to as well. Like, how do you do that as a parent? I've got no idea. I'm not going to pretend to understand. But what I can say is that the vast majority of drownings that happen every year in Australia are more than 1 kilometre from the red and yellow flags. Red and yellow flags are not just representing a safe place to swim, but a safe place to be. And actually, back in February, I work with an organisation called Lifesavers with Pride. And we have a day every year where we encourage all surf lifesaving clubs in the country. This year we had more than 165. There's a little over 300 clubs. So we're nearly 50%, a little over 50% of the way through getting all clubs involved. And we ask them to dress up brightly coloured and celebrate a day we call Rainbow Beaches. Now, we're celebrating diversity, equity, and inclusion in our organisation. But more importantly, we're trying to tell the community that we represent you and that beach is a safe place to be. You can be who you want to be. It doesn't matter to us. Just come and hang out with us because we're there actively looking out for you. And so I did a LinkedIn post to reinforce that and to thank my colleagues in surf lifesaving like Jess and 39,999 others or whatever there are. Thank you for your service, because giving your time is such a really valuable thing.
And this is something that you've got the lead on too. You're the leader of this particular program.
So I lead the program, which is celebrating diversity, equity, and inclusion. We call it Rainbow Beaches. We've been going about 7 years now, I think. And it actually kicked off. I don't know if you know this stat, Jess, but you get those old organisations tend to be white and male. It's just how things are when they're in old organisations.
Certainly how our club can be at times, yes.
Exactly right. So prior to the 80-81 season, females could not be a surf lifesaver. Before that, You could be in the kiosk, or you could be in the auxiliary club and making lamingtons or buttering scones or do whatever they did, but you could not be a surf life saver. So we only celebrated that only a few years ago, 40 years of women in surf life saving. So the low hanging fruit on this is, if our community is made up of, pick an arbitrary number, say 50% women, shouldn't our clubs be 50%? If your workplace is not 50%, I bet you it's not a nice workplace to be. When you have all one gender, they tend to end up being a little bit weird and toxic. And then not just the people who make up your organization, your leadership team should also have some diversity in it. And it's for the same reason. That's nicer places.
We had some interesting statistics. So I did a leadership course through Surf Lifesaving this late last year or this year, and some statistics around leadership positions as well that gear towards administration tend to have a really high uptake of women. So your secretaries of clubs and boards tend to be women, but whether that position has a vote on that board or whatever it is also really important to look at. I think, fudging statistics happens everywhere, but it's very nice that there's a lot of conversation happening around it. In surf, in solar, in all the good spaces.
Well, we've all been in solar a little while now. Not probably as long as a few of you, but I remember when Tesla batteries, the Powerwall 1, came onto the market, and the mainstream media, social media, consumers in general, like, oh my God, this is groundbreaking. Batteries. We've never had batteries before. And yet you look at lead acid batteries, they're hundreds of years old. So batteries been around forever. I live in northern New South Wales. This is a land of, hippies and freedom and stuff. And people used to get secondhand loco batteries and set up 12-volt systems, and their houses were wired 12-volt. That happened forever. Rainbow power. It's what it all was built off, right? And so Tesla had that same effect of normalizing batteries that, Jess, what we're trying to do in Rainbow Beaches, which is, normalize workplaces. And the Australian Women in Solar, like, what a great organization that is, filled with such wonderful people.
You have to see it to be it.
And the more we talk about it, the more normal it becomes, and the better our workplaces become.
Now, the other one I saw is that you also participated in the Mardi Gras. So you're front and center there, I think, with one of the banners. And offline, before we started, we were discussing this, and Carl said that he would participate next year as an ally.
We'll do, mate. So everybody knows my Facebook page. It's you and I, Luke, in white pants in Prague, going to a rave.
I don't know. I always confuse your Facebook with Simon's because you look so alike.
Oh, of course. We just look so alike. That's right. Actually, this is an in-joke between Simon and myself. Anytime we go to a trade show, I say, brother, it's like looking into a mirror, and Simon's like, get fucked, mate. You look nothing like me.
We need to talk about trade shows for a second. We'll circle back to that. Carl, just put in the back of your mind, wherever you get a hire car and get a hotel with open-minded cleaners, because the amount of glitter that you're going to find in the hire car and in the room the next day, like, apparently I had all through my beard, and we got in the lift to go down to the hire car, and I was like, oh, Unicorn must have got murdered in here, because I was apparently doing this, and then it was just like these kind of free-flowing, I don't know, fountains of glitter coming out of my beard. So, Jess, I scrubbed so hard to try and get rid of it all before that catch retreat. So I wasn't sure how Glen Innes was going to go with Simon with glitter in the beard.
It was a bit of a country town.
Carl went to Tomorrowland and he had glitter and he had all the stuff. So you'll be
Try
right.
to go again, Luke, but
Actually, talking about the road shows though, and I did lots of them last year, and we went to lots of shows, and you all did the same, right? I want to shout out to manufacturers. Up your game on the merch. No more shit. We want good quality merch this year.
Let's go.
I got a Fronius torch the other day. That's a good
Fronius
piece
torch.
of
I
merch.
use my Fronius torch for my emergency services on the jet boat in SA, like our EOG group. I use my Fronius torch. It's so good.
I've got the Fronius chalk. Found it that the other day. And Luke, if I may say, I've got a Gen Z power bank, which is very average, but it's not as average as the iStore one, which is dead.
I will say as well, shout out to Franklin for a dog lead that I do use regularly.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Great.
Dog
good.
lead.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Franklin, great dog leads. Also, they do really nice Bluetooth speakers. Shout
Ooh.
out to Solus. This is the best power bank I've ever had. Gonna need another one. I'm wearing it out.
My favorite piece of merch is a box of Fronius matches. We used to turn up to Austria. If you ever went on the
That took a turn.
no,
What?
if you ever went on
Our
the
inverters
Intersolar
aren't going to
trip,
light on fire, so here's some matches.
when you go on the Intersolar trip and you go to the hotel, you have a care package, and the standout is always the chocolate. That Austrian chocolate they give you is amazing. But lots of people still smoke over in Europe, and they smoke in hotel rooms. So you had the Fronius matches. So I kept them.
Lots of people smoke in northern New South Wales, but we call it hydro instead because it makes it less obvious.
I don't have those Fronius matches, Luke. I'm jealous, mate. I've got every other Fronius piece of match. I've got Fronius pillows, hats, bags.
Talking about merchant sadness, though, because you brought up sad things. How sad is it that SMA has left?
Oh,
Got all these.
totally. Yeah. What's your take on it, Simon?
They invented string inverters. They invented the modern hybrid, bidirectional battery inverter. And Australia is just such a hard market to beat. Like the manufacturers, OEMs, iSto's no different, Gen Z's no different, PowerPlus, we all have got so much to compete against. I think I heard there was 1,600 new batteries being listed in the last few months with the CEC. And I think I did a count. To be fair, I did with ChatGPT, so it's not very good. I think there's thousands of manufacturers now represented on the CEC approved list. Like, that's out of control. How can manufacturers keep up with that? How can Fronius keep up with that? So good on them for hanging in, but manufacturers who genuinely want to do the right thing, whether it be our sponsors, with Goodway or whatever, they actually have it tough trying to compete against the people who don't care.
Look, absolutely. I talk about it quite a lot. No one needs 50 kilowatt hours worth of storage, and ultimately, we burn through a ton of funding. Grandma's got the 50 kilowatt hour battery that she can't use, and it could have gone one of two ways. We were very lucky in that we got more funding and that the rules have changed. But if the rules didn't change and we ran out the funding, it would have been, hey, you can make $1 million this year, or you can make $5 million over the next 5 years. And we chose to make $1 million this year and didn't do the other 4.
I've got to say, if there was one way to deal with that, Cub, the easiest way would have done, instead of doing the current sliding scale of all that, we're going to drop it back to, 23 kilowatts or 16 or whatever that next number is, and all those milestones.
So 14 and then up to 28 is 60%, and then it's down to 15% for the last.
At the beginning, they should have capped it around 20 to 30 kilowatt hours, and
Absolutely.
then brought in a CNI, like an LGC version, where you encourage CNI to go and put batteries on those properties, because that will make the biggest difference going forward, right? You fly around the country and you're coming into land and you look out the window and you see those great big buildings near the airport, and how many of them have solar? How many of them could put batteries in the car park because the landlord won't let them put solar on the roof? Put a battery in the car park and soak up the duck curve in a big way, 200, 500 megawatt hour battery or whatever.
I think given the landscape of what they were working with, like Chris Bowen was pretty clear in the announcement originally at All Energy, I'm pretty sure it was either Smart Energy or All Energy last year, when he gave his address, that it was because they were tacking onto the existing scheme. And I think that they would have isolated the CNI, or not even CNI, like just like the small to medium commercial scale, if they had have capped at 20 or 30.
The funny part is a 50 kilowatt hour battery will run a whole Coles supermarket through till 9 p.m.
Well, not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Different size Coles nearby. And I actually walk along and close the doors to stop the cold air from coming out, because
Good on
I
you, mate.
feel for their power bills.
Do you also, pull the jars to the front when you take one? And...
Nah, dude.
No.
It's the opposite. Open all the fridges. They're making billions of dollars, all right? It's fine for the fridges to be open. I have an agenda item.
Ooh.
Tesla Powerwall 3 backwards compatibility with Powerwall 2. Obviously,
I saw that coming.
Very nice for me and my little sector of the world. But do you think it sets a bit of a precedent for people? Because backwards compatibility of modules is pretty rare. I can't think of another example of I'd love to be wrong. But...
No, but it's a right thing to do for a manufacturer. I think it actually shows the manufacturer cares. And the quirk of that though is they're not just doing it because they care.
No,
let's be honest.
they're making
In
money.
parts
They
of
made enough
Australia,
money
we
off
have-
all the suckers who have already replaced their Power 2 with 2 Power 3s, and now they're.
But then we've also got those DNSP requirements where they're not allowing certain products to be installed because of the inbuilt solar and some other stuff, or expansion gets really tricky because you've got the solar inputs. I'm thinking Queensland specifically, but I think, Luke, you might have a whole heap of those quirks over your neck of the woods as well. So this is a way of just opening up more markets. So it's not just them caring, it's them being clever and going, oh, what are the restrictions in Oz? How do we get around it? Or how do we get the fanboys like Carl's to go and buy a few more?
Interesting, Jess. You said backwards compatibility on modules. So RAC did a white paper many years ago, said that you can put a panel any watt class higher than their existing watt classes with an old watt class. That's fine, no problem. Doesn't make any difference. All good.
Interesting. I mean, I was thinking battery modules, but yeah, very,
sure,
very interesting.
Sure. The problem is not many people were up to speed with the basic physics, Simon.
I think more interesting, Jess, will be that possible 3-phase coming with Tesla Powerwall 3.
Yes, but there's no, that's a whisper in the wind, no time or dates.
Oh, I'm sorry.
As far as I'm aware, there's a few things coming from quite a few manufacturers actually that sound very exciting, but I think until we have times and dates is a tricky thing. I'm sure everyone's been in the position where you find out that you can do something and then the next day you get a customer it would be perfect for, and then you're waiting 9 months or something for it to come around, or even longer.
Gee, it's a tough market to bring new products into.
Yeah.
And coming back to what Simon was saying about the thousands of manufacturers and how many solutions, what's your forecast on all these manufacturers and solutions, Simon?
I reckon 2nd of May, we might see the beginning of a whole heap of new orphans that we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm really happy, though, it's not the 4th of May, because Star Wars Day should be a
Sacred.
day of happiness. Exactly.
I hear that we may be getting inverters that are multi-single phase. So you get a 3-phase inverter that's actually 3 single-phase inverters. You can tell it to be 1, 2, or 3 phases. You can tell it to be 120, 180 degrees apart. You can put them all together so they all work as a single-phase inverter.
Carl, this is not new.
Oh,
This is already
Simon,
done at
broke my heart.
commercial inverters in battery systems now that get sold into various global markets where you might shift from a 220 to a 240 from 50 to 60 hertz. It's a firmware flash. So makes absolute sense for a manufacturer, right? Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do what Fronius does with their Gen 24s and firmware lockout stuff so you can increase your productions, bring your costs down, and then I'm not saying don't do what BMW tried doing that with heated seats years ago. I'm not sure you do it like that, but yeah, no, that's the best way to be a manufacturer, Carl, and it's clever if they can.
BMW heated seats, so they had the elements there, but you had to unlock it or pay for the unlock.
Yes.
It's
So much money too. It was like you buy a really, really expensive car and then pay a lot extra money for that.
I'd probably pay it still.
So I'm buying the BYD Shark. It comes with heated and cooled seats. No extra money.
On that note, the Tesla YL went on sale today for about $6,000 more than the regular one. Captain's chairs, 6 seats, another 300 millimeters longer. So even though it looks like a Model Y, it's a totally different car.
Carl, with Tesla, how long before they do that autonomous driving thing, but in Oz?
They're already doing it.
Yeah, it's available.
Legally?
Yeah, sorry, Simon, you missed that boat, mate. We've been doing it for 6 months.
Ah, yeah.
It's awesome.
That's crazy. Like, that would be good for me when I'm Facebooking and driving. Like, it'd be really helpful.
Yeah, no, you still got to pay attention, unfortunately.
Don't you have to
won't drive
wiggle
you
it every
home
now
from
and
the
again?
Pub. Yeah.
Someone told me you get a bottle of water and tie it to the steering wheel. Was that you, Carl?
Oh, no, that definitely does not work. I have one of those.
Now, Carl, you must be Facebooking and driving based on how many posts and things you interact with.
That's his day job.
My my old Model S has nothing, and yeah, it's just not possible to do anything.
We've got the new detectors, the AI detectors and cameras, and they pick up seatbelts and they pick up people on their phones. So they were rolled out in WA, I think at the start of the year. And they had a 4-month grace period where they sent out hundreds of thousands of cautions. And now, it's amazing how many fines are going out for people being on their phones and the like. And not wearing seatbelts. Who doesn't wear a seatbelt? I mean, come on. Crazy.
Phone fines $1,000 in Vic, Luke. I mean, in WA, Luke.
Oh, I don't know what it is. It's a heap of points, probably $1,000 thereabouts, but it's a lot of points as well, which is a big one.
New South Wales and Queensland, I know if you're driving a company vehicle with branding on it, the fine goes up too.
Oh.
So, we've got, all of us will have team members who, through the day shouldn't be using their devices, but do. And they're not only putting themselves at risk, they're also putting our organisations at risk because, we'll get judged by it. So I laugh, but I do have the Apple suite of products, so I can use
Siri.
Yeah, I'm trying not to say that. Oh, thanks.
Mine just turned on.
Turn that off. Every device in my house. Thank you. I was trying not to say that for that reason. But yeah, so just if anyone ever gets a text message from me with the word duck, just put in the back of your mind, I don't normally use that word.
What about ducking? Do you ever use that?
Yeah. Anything with the word duck in it is not normal part of my vocabulary.
I don't get the joke, mate. Oh, got it. Took a while, mate.
It's an Apple autocorrect. Are you going to Solar and Storage Live in Queensland next week? Yeah, that should be good.
I am. I'm getting spammed. I'm getting at least 3 emails a day. I've already sent a couple saying to duck off and stop sending me emails. I've already agreed you can't make me go more than like how many times in the day. But I'm looking forward to going there for a few reasons. Not only to catch up with industry people, but also to see all these new brands. And favorite game ever is I go to these shows and I get the data sheets and I look through, and my favorite is when they get confused between kilowatts and kilowatt hours on batteries. Best ever.
Get the bingo card going.
Oh, I know. I want to do that so bad.
That email that you sent me with that said duck you, that didn't actually mean that.
So we have Solar and Storage Live next week. As you said, Simon, catching up with all the people. And I love Brizzy as well. It's a great town.
Yeah.
It's a friendly town.
Well, you got the Springer lads to keep it interesting as well.
Absolutely.
And Kempy as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to turn up.
Kempy is speaking at the show.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. And I thought, I normally don't go to those, but I think I'll have to go to that one because I genuinely want to hear the way that he views the industry at the moment.
We should talk more about electric cars because Origin's got a whole heap of new EV plans, and the trajectory for EVs in Australia is pretty steep. We're getting on board, and this petrol shock is going to get a lot more people on board, which is excellent.
But Carl, you've got more than just EVs, right? You've got DNSPs like Essential Energy, which covers 80% New South Wales, have that solar soaker program in place, especially to encourage people to use more energy in the middle of the day. So what they've done is they've flipped on their head the peak period from being in the middle of, is it in the shoulders, to be in the middle of the day or something. I don't know how they've done it, but there's somehow the cheapest tariff now is in the middle of the solar day, so you can pull electricity from the grid and pay the least amount possible. And that's a DNSP doing that, not the retailer. So the intent there is the retailers pass that cheap cost on. So this is obviously a precursor to the 3 free hours that Chris promised, but I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Look, I get those 3 free hours in Melbourne, and I got 8,600 kilowatt hours last year, which is $6 a day. If we're talking buying it, $6 a day is $2,500 a year.
So that hours through, I think it's through OVO that
you're with? OVO with me, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not universally accepted on the East Coast. Let's call it the NEM, but the East Coast. So other networks are now trying to do similar things without making it too free. And it's the actual network operators doing this, not the retailers. So they're pushing that back to the retailers to then get the retailers to drop the price. So people are taking up more power. So why wouldn't you, right? Like if this is the time you're thinking, I don't want to go and fill up my IBC or jerry cans with fuel, I want to go and buy an EV, and BYD apparently has got lots of them. do it. The blade
Live it up,
batteries
mate.
are
Go buy a
amazing, and
spa. Go buy a spa.
yeah,
They're great for using shitloads of power in 3
that would
hours.
be a heated spa set to 45 degrees and then cook your
right.
food in.
I used to think these podcasts always came back to circuit breakers, but now I think they always come back to massage chairs.
And
One way or
spas.
another.
Spas.
And spas.
And
We
spas.
always land
So
back
when
here.
you're cooking said dinner, is that while you're in the spa, or is that before or afterwards?
I don't go in spas because I reckon they're disgusting and filthy. But Carl's made that point for you. I think most of the listeners as well would agree with me now. If Carl's got a spa, don't go in it.
I only put water in it when I need to use it. So there you go. It's safe, Simon. Safe. I'll fill it up fresh for you, mate.
A fresh tub.
But no, actually, look, Carl's right though. Heating water is the best possible way to use excess energy.
Absolutely.
Jess, do you? I know you use a whole heap of different products, but I'm assuming that one of the things that you'd try and do for your customers is to set, load shedding or something where you can drop excess solar into hot water systems or heat pumps or some way of heating.
A bit. We have a lot of gas hot water in SA, so there are
That's
a lot of
awkward.
people transitioning off of that, and therefore, it sort of can become a part of the project. But yeah, like some way to shift that load in one way or another using a heat pump that can be timed for that, or even just like a timer changeover switch or a catch device, or some sort of mechanism to shift that load is definitely a high priority for the customers who are using it.
That's the way you really get to return your battery, right?
Yeah.
You try and make the solar power everything in your life, whether it be, if you don't have a car, you definitely have a hot water system, or you're going to have something you can drop it into. Even if it's you turn the air conditioning to like negative numbers in the middle of the day
That's the go.
and shut it down before it hits, sundown, so you cool down the house and you have that thermal mass to carry you through the evening. Why not?
Works amazingly well. Particularly, I built my house. I put 27 kilowatts of panels on the roof. My goal was that the wife would be wearing a teddy in winter. And as it turns out, you need a shitload of energy
You're a little
to
bit
do that.
self-motivated
And I couldn't
in this, Carl.
I couldn't even remotely get there. But with the 3 hours of free power and 24 kilowatts of air conditioning, heating power, I can get there. It's a winner.
That uni Jess, that it's the same coin, it's just a different side. It's just his side's so disgusting and repulsive, we just want to wash our eyes out with soap.
Look, I agree with the philosophy that if the house doesn't get hot or cold, that it's like way more energy efficient. I'm on board with that. For whatever reason it might be. In my house, I just want my little puppy dog to be nice and happy all day. And, we all do these things for different reasons.
That's why we run aircon.
Yeah.
Does he bark at the aircon? Jess?
Nah, she doesn't care about much at all. Like it's kind of one of those ones where if she's not food motivated, she's not doing much else. So
I know people whose dogs bark at the aircon if you don't turn it on. They just sit there and bark at it. So you've got to turn the aircon on.
Wrong breed. Get a different breed of dog. I have a Staffy.
Yeah, I think that was actually a Staffy that was doing that. But
we've really been very on topic for the solar podcast today, haven't we?
Oh,
That's
no, look,
okay.
at the end of the day, really important that we keep people's moods light and airy at the moment, because everyone's busting their asses, smashing in batteries that before the end of the rebate. Everyone's working really hard. So if they're listening to the podcast on the way to work and they're having a bit of a giggle, then we've had a win.
Hey, and then back to what Luke was saying earlier, and be kind to yourself, right? If you are listening to this on the way to work, I listen to it really early in the morning when I go to the gym. Be kind to yourself. Life's hard. Don't make it harder. Try and leave your work at work and be nice to the people who you normally live with, because chances are they might actually like you. So yeah, be nice, be kind.
Good advice.
And plan your holidays for after the end of the rebate.
Mass exodus from the country for the solar industry, May 2nd.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone's jetting off overseas, and if it's $5,000 to get to Bali, they're still getting on
See
the
you
plane.
at Noosa Lumbongan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jess, did NRG let anyone have a holiday over Christmas, New Year's?
I don't know about let. I don't know that many people really asked for leave. NRG is quite good on this front. Like, as long as you've given good notice, like people here will bend over backwards to make sure you have like some of the time you want, or try and find a way to make it work. So I'm pretty lucky though. I think I'm luckier than most on that front.
Well, I hope the installers out there who have been slogging it through summer, and it's been a hard summer, right? It's
Yeah.
been hot and sticky and horrible, and
Mm.
now we're kind of having cyclones up north, so they're all getting flogged. I hope they get a break soon, because if they don't, they work in a really high risk industry, and the likelihood of things not turning out well is really high. On roofs, electricity.
I've been thinking a lot about how much we try and cram into a day. And I think
Yeah.
every business becomes a bit guilty of this, like you have the average of what a team can accomplish and whatnot, and you try and work to that, but then you sort of, you start edging that up a little bit, and it's just this, it's just that. And I think when it's here or there, it's not so bad, but when every single day is a big day, and it's hard to manage, right, in a calendar, because you don't always get to pick and choose. Oh, well, this team gets an easy day this day, and this team gets a hard day the next day, and and then you rock up to site, and the easy job becomes hard, and the hard job becomes easy, and it's all out the window. But I think where we can, at the very least, try and carve some time out. The NRG team is going to the Glenelg Moseley Beach Club tomorrow night as a bit of a
Nice.
celebration of us hitting some targets last year. So things like that where we can try and build it in.
So a good reminder, if you're leading a team in any capacity, whether it's your business or someone else's business, this is your reminder now to look at the calendar, set a date, and do
Yeah.
some team building.
Yeah.
Take your team out. Take them for a
Have a
meal,
drink.
few drinks, do something fun.
Do some axe throwing or a one of those rooms where you shatter plates or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, reach out to your channel partners, the distribution people you buy panels, solar rackings, whatever off, or manufacturers, and say, can you chip in? Because maybe they'll be keen.
Hey, big shout out to Solar Juice for that. They were the best at that in the industry. Really good at looking after both their customers and their staff with regular
Awesome.
training and team building exercise. Big shout out to Andrew and Rami there. And before we go, big shout out to Simon. If anyone gets the chance to listen to one of Simon's presentations at any one of numerous events around the country, he is absolutely an expert when it comes to off-grid batteries, and he'll tell you everything that you've done wrong for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Actually, this year I've been asked, last year for Solar Cutters, we mixed it up a bit, and we're talking about leadership styles in the workplace. So if you're a member of Solar Cutters, you can go online and do the training, and it's around collaborative versus controlling leadership, because how is it when people try and micromanage us? So Cutters this year have asked us to continue this theme, and I think we're going to be talking about fitness.
Ooh.
And not just physical, but mental, because the concern that I have is that I'm being very selfish now. You use my batteries and you do all the complicated, horrible stuff after you've been on the roof. You're probably not concentrating as much as you should. So we're going to be talking about that, and
Interesting point, because mental health has been a talking point, but psychosocial safety in the workplace is becoming a bigger talking point. Exactly what you're saying. So,
Well,
jump
you
online,
put it more-
jump onto Cutters and check it out.
You put it more bluntly with me, Simon. You said, what should I talk about? Should it not be how to not be a fuckwit in the solar industry? I think that's what you said.
There's always a subtext to what I'm saying, Carl.
I want a name and shame PowerPoint from Simon where it's just screenshots of people's shitty posts and comments. Ooh, we're gonna make the camera do something crazy there. It's so big now. But yes, I want the name and shame.
Our parent company has a really great legal team, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to tell them what I'm about to do in relation to this as a way of protecting us.
Yeah, well, they'll never hear it if you say it right now on this very public.
I may or may not already do some of that in some of my conversations, but I'll try and be very careful. In fact, we have a policy at PowerPlus. We won't reshare pictures or posts on socials if there's something wrong with it, because life's already tough, right? You look at the Vic, for example, and they've got like 1,000,000% inspection rates. Essential Energy have been doing a roadshow around New South Wales, and they're talking about how they've got all this new reporting stuff. And I actually said to them, oh, great. Does that mean if there's something going on and it's a non-compliant system, someone can now report it to you? And then, no. The reporting system is around if the CSIP works. It's like, who cares if the CSIP works? Like, what if there's wires sticking out that might kill someone? They're like, yeah, whatever. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Life's hard enough.
Well, we're going to wrap up shortly, so we'll go around for last thoughts. And Simon Ceglinski from PowerPlus Energy parachuted in as a guest co-host. No doubt we'll speak to you again. Well, I'll speak to you next week, but we'll get you back on again soon. Great to have a chat.
Yep.
Do you want to give us your last thoughts?
Yeah, look, we're still pushing like crazy to get as many batteries as we can while there's still rebates. So please, when you get home in the evenings, be kind to yourself. Be kind to the people you live with and your loved ones. They're probably struggling more than you are. And then when it does come to the end of that time and you can take a break and disconnect. Drop your phone behind, throw it out the window on the way to the airport, go to Nissan and catch a couple of waves. Do what you have to do, but recharge the batteries properly. We really care for you.
There you go. Carl Jensen, go for
I
it.
just love the buzz there. Recharge the batteries. You're a funny bastard, Simon. I would like to say to everybody that of all the people that I look forward to seeing at trade shows, it's Simon Ceglinski. And I always go to his presentations because they're absolutely awesome. And I learn something every time without fail, which is great. I see him going red there. I do think he looks a lot like me, and I'm still calling him my brother, Simon. Because we
should get shirts made up.
So absolute pleasure having you on the show, mate. Made my week. And
can I get a shirt that says "I'm with stupid" and then a picture of you beside that?
Absolutely, mate. I'll sign up for that.
You might have to make a few of those, Simon. I think they'll be in heavy demand.
Off-Grid Living Festival, Clean Energy Council events, Smart Energy Council events. Simon's always there. And at the end of the day, he does a hell of a lot for the industry. And thank you very much for being around.
Here. All right, Jess, last comments.
Here. Thank you to Catch Power for a weekend, or it wasn't even a weekend, but an end of a week away. I'd like to shout out all the people who made the time to go to it as well. I think at a pretty busy time in the industry, but I certainly learned a lot and met some really awesome people. And I felt like I got a lot out of it. So thank you very much to them for everything they did there. I sort of echo the same sentiments. I think most especially I'm really feeling for the installers at the moment. Not that everyone else up the chain isn't having a rough, hard time, but I think just especially if you are in a position where you can like check in on your people, I think now is very much the time, and looking forward to the next up and down on the solar coaster as per usual.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Thanks again, Simon and team. And Nige, we'll see you again next episode. And thank you to Goodwe, our generous sponsors. Make sure you go and check out the Goodwe Rewards program and also the ESA All-in-One solution. Appreciate everything you do to give back to the industry. And to you, our listeners, if you're on an audio platform, make sure you subscribe or like it. But just remember, we're now on YouTube as well. We don't have the same followers as what we do on the audio platform. So please, you can jump on there, help us by subscribing, like an episode, comment on an episode, or you get some ripper comments. Not everyone loves what we do, but that's okay. You're welcome to put that down too. You're welcome to put that down too. So yeah, please support us in that way and look forward to catching up with you at upcoming trade shows, and we'll catch you soon.
G'day, it's Alex Carey here. The new Goodwe ESA home battery is here, and it's a game changer with leading performance and safety features. The Goodwe ESA series is available now. Visit goodwe.com.au for more information.